Well, hello there. Welcome to day 100 of my carnivore journey. Welcome to Scratching the Dirt. This is Nikki, and today is November 30th, Sunday, and it's day 100, which I didn't even realize until I went back and I keep notes about my carnivore, and I was looking, and I was like, oh my gosh, today's day 100. So it's pretty exciting. It doesn't really mean anything besides it's just a nice round number. Plus, I guess because I've spent so much time teaching and in schools, the 100th day of school is always a big deal in elementary schools, and so I'm like, woo, I made it to 100 days. But yeah, here we are. So the thing I want to talk about today is, number one, I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving or a wonderful weekend if you don't celebrate American Thanksgiving. And we're full into the Christmas swing. So work has been really busy and really wonderful. And for me, because, my job depends, well, one of my jobs depends on people needing things and me shopping for them and delivering. And so it's just been really nice to be a part of helping people prepare for their holiday celebrations. I'm excited to continue to do that for the next few weeks. But let's talk about the carnivore. A couple of things. Which I'm thinking about because I just ate ham that was left over from Thanksgiving, because I've kind of discovered through trial and error that when I eat any other protein source besides beef, I don't have the same energy the whole day as I do when I eat beef. So I've seen it happen with chicken, and then I've also seen it with the ham that we've been eating since Thanksgiving and on Thanksgiving. I only ate ham was my entire Thanksgiving meal. And then, of course, we had leftovers because there's always leftovers. But when I eat those things, my energy seems to wane a little bit compared to when I eat beef. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Fortunately, beef is my preferred protein, and so that is what I eat most often. But I do like to mix it up every now and then. So we'll see. I'm just going to keep watching that and see. I mean, it kind of makes sense that it would make a difference. I do know there's reasons why people talk about beef being the one you should eat the most of. But then again, there's also people that say lamb is it, or, any protein or seafood or whatever it is. So I'm just going to keep an eye on myself and see what happens as I continue to eat different things. And then here's the big one. I want to talk about my blood pressure. I have been on a blood pressure medication since December of 2022, where my blood pressure was really, really high. I knew I had blood pressure issues, but I didn't know how bad they were. And so I've been taking my medication, and the day that we found it, I got really scared. And so I've been really good about taking that medication, even though I don't like taking a daily medication. I would prefer to live a life without a daily medication. So about, not this past Friday, like not 2 days ago, but the Friday before, I took my blood pressure in the morning and it was low, like low, low. And I hadn't taken my medication yet that day. And so I was like, okay, if I take blood pressure medication when I'm already starting this low, that was scary to me, because I do drive as a part of my job, and I don't want low blood pressure, just like I don't want high blood pressure. So I took my blood pressure cuff and I took my medication with me and just checked it throughout the day. And I stayed below like 110/70. I stayed there all day long. And so I never took my medication. And then that repeated for 5 days. I continued to just check my blood pressure, and I didn't take my medication for those 5 days. Now, I don't suggest anyone do this. This is the way I approach my health. I don't suggest that you make decisions about your blood pressure medication or any other medication without talking to your doctor. This is just me. I can be a bit rebellious. And so I'm just telling you what happened. I'm not suggesting anything to you for yourself. But after that 5 days, I took my blood pressure and I went, oh, we had a jump. So it went up like overnight, literally perfect at night. And then the next morning, my first reading was I think it was 145 over 75 or 80. So I went, okay, I don't like that overnight it jumps so much. So I got a little nervous and went, okay, maybe we need to take our blood pressure medication. Just because I've seen my blood pressure in action when it starts to rise, and especially when I get concerned or stressed about something, it rises and rises and rises, and then it won't come down. And so my big fear is letting it get out of control like it did the day I got prescribed medication, and feeling that. But the interesting part of that is this, which is kind of a side note, but also I think might actually be kind of related. In 2012, I had a brain surgery. I had a brain tumor removed, and ever since then, they actually, I don't want to be gross, but they actually had to cut my skull off here, right? Because the brain tumor was right behind my eyes. And so I've always had these divots here. They're just always there. My skull is not smooth like a normal person's. I also have little divots in my head. Like there's a really deep one right there from the surgery. And it is what it is. But the thing that's interesting about that in relation to the blood pressure is that I used to suffer from really bad headaches. And I used to suffer from occasionally migraines. I honestly had them maybe 2-3 times a year. And so I don't know if I can say I used to suffer from them, because I really, since I started carnivore, it's only been 100 days. So I may still get a migraine. Who knows? But when I get headaches, these sink and they get sunk in. And you literally, like, I can't lie about whether or not I have a headache, because this will sink in so deep that you can see that there's something wrong with me. Well, that night when I realized my blood pressure had raised back up, Jose looked at me and said, do you have a headache? Like your skull is sinking, or, whatever, however he put it. But I looked in the mirror, and then I went and I looked back at things I had filmed, and I looked at the difference before, when my blood pressure was lower and when my blood pressure raised, and you could see it. You could see the sinking, which right now it's actually a little bit sunk, but I checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure is perfect. So now I don't know. Maybe this is an indicator of blood pressure issues. Maybe it is an indicator of headache issues still. I don't know what it is a function of. It's just one of those anecdotal things that is a part of my health history that I've always kind of related to headaches, because it happens when I have headaches. But also, when your blood pressure raises, you get headaches. So, I mean, I'm not sure. I just found it interesting, and it is something that I'm keeping an eye on. I am checking my blood pressure. I am currently taking my medication. However, this morning I started a little low again. So I'm going to have to suck it up pretty soon and pay for a doctor visit. I think maybe what I need is a different dosage on my medication. I think that the health benefits I'm seeing from the choices I'm making are making my heart a little more effective, maybe. And my blood pressure medication might be too high of a dose now. So I'm going to continue to track, my blood pressure, so that when I do go to the doctor, I can say, look, here are my readings. Do you think we could go to a lower dose? But that's something that's on the horizon for me, that's coming up, and I will keep you updated when I do that. But hold, please. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about my adventures in blood pressure as I am on this carnivore journey. So, there's lots of other things going on. I always kind of try to pick the most pressing thing at the moment to talk about. I'm in a hit, y'all. We had a cold front come in. I'm in Texas, and we had a cold front come in, and we're looking at like a high of, like, I don't know, 48 or 50 or something today. I'm so excited. I get to wear a hoodie all day long and be comfortable. So I'm going to work after I get this scheduled to post for later this evening. And I hope you guys have had a wonderful Sunday by the time you see this. And I hope your upcoming week is fantastic. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. And I'm going to see you guys soon. Bye.